Here is the, watch out, Farm Innovations incubator. We are at temperature and humidity. Temperature should be about 100, and this has been sitting at this for 12 hours. And now the kids are going to take that off and start loading up the incubator. Those are too dirty to put in. Let me see. Okay, so it looks like we got, the temperature is trying to adjust here, so it will raise it back up to 100 degrees, and we're at about 55% humidity. Are so bright and springy that we're going to go ahead and transfer these guys and let these remaining eggs, I don't think they're going to hatch, but we'll just kind of let them in there for a couple more days and see what happens. So, but I'm going to get these little guys out. Where we have put them, we have made this box. Well, I didn't make it, but as you can see, this is just like a box we have used for storage. It's like cracked on the sides. That's not important and not really needed. I have that warming plate here in the center, and I'm going to put in water, a waterer, and food, and we're going to kind of try to dip their beaks in the water so that they know where the water is. And we're going to put these 9 little chickadees. I'm kind of sad because I think one of them's sick, but anyway, we're going to put them in here and see how it goes. So let's get started. We're trying to do them one at a time. Show me, Lige. Oh, okay. We do them one at a time and just stick them down there. Oh, it's so cute. What do you think, little guy? Look how cute he is. We just have some wood chips down in there, some shavings. I always say wood chips. It's not wood chips, it's wood shavings from Tractor Supply. Okay, now we are putting in the nice, fresh, clean water. And Elijah's going to take their little beaks and put it in the water so that they know that there's water. Okay, now we're gonna add their feed. And go ahead, Missy.
Okay.
Yeah, put it up against. No, don't squish them. There you go. And actually, they need better access to their water. Yeah. But, yeah. So, you always want to buy chick feed instead of regular feed. Not only is it ground up a little bit more, but so regular feed is usually for chickens that are laying, and so it has a different percentage of protein in it than chick feed does. So even if you make your own feed, you'll still want to start them off on a pre-made chick feed. It just is the appropriate nutritional content and the appropriate protein content that I just wouldn't mess around with while you're raising little babies. I mean, if you really know what you're doing, I would feel free, but because we make our own feed all the time, but we don't make our own chick feed. We always use a prepared mix. So now they have their food and their water, and we have the heating plate right here. So let's see how they do over the next 24 hours, because they all sound pretty happy. Okay, here we are in the next morning, and they are, all 9 of them are bright and all over the place. They are eating, they are drinking, they are nice and fluffy and beautiful, and we are very excited. So we have successfully incubated some of our eggs. I mean, we started with 20, we ended up with 9. I know that doesn't sound like great numbers, but the breast chickens that we had actually incubated out this time, they didn't have great incubation rates at the hatchery last year because they kept having to cancel our order and because of low incubation rates. So I don't know what's going on with those, but the other types of chickens that we have done before, we might have like 1 egg out of a batch that doesn't hatch. So I just want to encourage you to start your own, because we all have to start thinking about chickens are very expensive to have, and so you start looking at how you can offset that cost. And if you don't spend, like the last time we were at Tractor Supply, each chick was $6.50 each one. So if you're going to have, especially if you're going to have a ton of chickens, that's a really big one. Now that incubator that we bought was, I believe it was $125 on Amazon, and it's from Farm Innovators. Now, you don't have to have as big a one as we do. We like to hatch a lot because we also slaughter our chickens, so, and put them in our freezer, so we don't just use them for eggs. So they're, so we put in 20 eggs into the incubator, and it takes about 20 to 24 days to hatch them out. Usually, I have to be honest, it's right on the money though. There's things though that you want to be sure of, like follow your manufacturer's instructions with your incubator. And ours always says to go ahead and make sure that for I think it was 24 hours, you plug the incubator in and make sure that the temperature is correct and the humidity comes to where it's supposed to be before you start putting your eggs in. And then the other thing, and I feel like this is kind of important, if you would like the breed that you want, like what I mean by that is, so we have Americana chickens, and we want a purebred chicken for our Americana chickens. And so we have a separate coop when we go to do this, and we lock the Americana rooster and the Americana hens away from the rest of the flock. We put them in their own little coop for as long as it takes to get however many eggs we want to incubate out of them. The issue is you only want to keep those eggs, they're only really viable for about 7 days. So like, let's say that you have 3 hens and they're not going to lay every day. You just have to look at, like, is it realistic for you to want 21 eggs from 3 hens in 7 days? Probably not. So you might have to do 2 batches of something if you only have a small amount of hens. One rooster one rooster can service 10 to 11 hens very comfortably, so that's usually not an issue. But if you are going to you know, take like a 7-day period for the eggs, you'll want to take those clean eggs, and maybe like stick them in the refrigerator. Our house was so cold at the time that we were doing this that we just went ahead and we kept them in its own little basket in the house in a very cool place. But it's summertime right now, and our weather just changed like drastically to hot. So we're getting ready to actually start keeping the eggs from the Americanas right now. And so because of that, we will be collecting those clean eggs, and you want to collect them every single day. Like, don't let the hens sit on them, don't let the heat get to them, because they'll start incubating, and you don't want them to yet. So you want them all to incubate together. And so for 7 days, but prior to you collecting them, this was actually the important part, prior to collecting those eggs, please be sure that you wait 4 days of collecting the eggs out of the coop, and they are completely isolated from all the other roosters, because the other roosters have most likely fertilized those hens as well. It's not like they stick to their own breeds. So you will get a mix, which is fine if you don't care, but it's not going to do anything other than, if you want a straight breed though, you have to have that rooster with those hens separated out. No one can get in. They have to be completely alone. You feed them and water them separate. You don't let them out through the day. You just keep them in there. They have to be separated for 4 days, and those eggs removed from the coop, and then you start your 7-day collection for the incubator. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, send me a little note in the comments, because I want that to be perfectly clear for you guys. It wasn't clear for us the first time that we incubated, and we definitely got a mix, which is, again, it was fine, and the chickens were fine and everything was good. But this time around, we paid so much money for those breast chickens. I think we paid $8 a piece for them. So we wanted to make sure that we definitely got more breast chickens. And the reason why we like breast chickens is because their meat is marbled, and it's really good. And so we want a straight breast, and we want to keep the Americanas a straight Americana. We might do a 3rd incubation with our Sussex chickens, just because these are neat breeds and they're pretty, and I kind of want to keep them intact, and they don't sit on their eggs. They pretend like they're gonna sit on their eggs, and then they get like 17 days through a 21-day cycle, and they get up off the nest. Oh, I'm like, I always like cross my fingers, like, please make it, and they never do. So anyway, so then we put them in the incubator. The only thing that you have to watch out for, some people put an extra thermometer in their incubator. We did not this time around. We have done that before. I don't know. I just felt like it was a little bit of overkill. If you're worried that your thermometer is wrong, put in another, you know, thermometer. But there's a thermometer in it, and then we just kept an eye and made sure to keep the humidity levels at like between 50 and 65%. And we would put the water, there's like a little hole in the front of our incubator, and you can either use like one of those great big turkey basters to put it in there, or we would just slightly tip ours back and pour water in, like a half a cup or something. And we only had to do that twice in the 21-day period. So for us, we buy at least 2 bags of feed a week. And so the cost of chicken, and right now at Tractor Supply, organic feed is about $25 a bag. So if you think that through, that's $200 a month. Now, if you look at the cost per dozen of organic eggs, it is rather expensive. So we still are slightly winning, but when you start coupling in other costs, you know, the shavings we put in, all the equipment that we buy and things like that, of course it's not a good thing. So, and then when you add in the even mega cost of paying someone else to incubate your eggs, that's a huge cost. And so last year we had spent, I want to say $250 or $300 on those, and we didn't even have a huge order. Like a few years ago we ordered 200 chickens and realized that that was like completely not sustainable for us. So I just want to encourage you to start like looking into things like incubating. Incubating is fun. My kids loved it, and they would run in there and check on those eggs every day, even though they know that they're not going to hatch out till about day 20, 21. And when they do, like, you'll hear a peep in one of those eggs first, and everybody in the house gets so excited, and we all run to the incubator. You're not going to see anything because it's just trying to peck through, but it's a really exciting time in our house. And so we have 9 beautiful breasts, little chickadees that we're super excited to raise. The other thing I wanted to say is you do have to be careful what you feed your chicks. And so I have heard a lot of horror stories about what chicks get fed. And so, like, I am a big one for saying you make do with whatever you have. But this is one time I would save up money and I would actually get chick starter. We get an organic chick starter from Tractor Supply, and because that's what's close to us. And sometimes we use, I mean, for our normal chicken feed, a lot of times we use Azure Standard and we kind of make our own. I have a video on that if you want to look that up. I think it's like how to make your own chicken feed or something like that, but we'll put it down below. And so we get that from Azure Standard. But when it comes to baby chicks, it's like they're so delicate that we like to take every precaution that we can to have the best results that we can. So I go ahead and just buy the commercial organic mix, and then I don't have to think about that portion of it. And we've had really good success with raising chickens. Like, I hear a lot of people who have like a lot of losses. We just don't. And so, you know, we keep our coops clean. These babies will stay away from the rest of the flock. We have a separate little, we call it the mama coop. We have a separate little mama coop, and they'll be raised in there until they're almost the size of the full-grown chickens. They just need to be able to not be bullied, because chickens are bullies. They can be very mean to something smaller than themselves. So, but, and I also wanted to say that as you start hatching out your chickens, when they come out, they look sickly. Chickens look like they're not going to make it. There was actually, and I've hatched out lots of flocks, but this last time I even kept telling Elijah, I was like, this chicken's not going to make it. I was like, and he kept saying, quit cursing him. I was like, he's not going to make it. But I really figured that this last chicken was not going to make it. It was so wobbly, and it was like, it really seemed like a chick that just didn't seem strong enough. But Elijah kept, you know, telling me that I needed to be patient and let it, you know, really just, they need time to, well, and one other thing too, like as we're talking about this, is the other chickens will start like pecking at the one coming out, and it seems kind of mean, but what I have noticed is that they do that and it actually helps, it encourages that chicken to kind of live, and it's kind of a neat little process. It looks mean, but that chicken, it's so, and then sometimes if there is a sick chick and it does go down, they're pecking and all of that, which I don't think that they're doing it to be mean, but it looks like sometimes like nature's cruel, but a lot of times it isn't. My point to all of this is that chick that looked, you know, like it wasn't going to make it to me is like bright and fluffy and bouncing around out in that little tote that we have it in. So it's really fun. It's fun to watch. This is such a neat time of year because we love to see all the little babies come out, and everybody's so full of energy and vibrancy, and so it's a really, really good time. So anyway, if you have any questions about incubating, or you want to share something that maybe we don't know about incubating, go ahead and put it in the comments down below. I just love to be able to share all of these things with you. So thank you so much for watching. And remember, if we can incubate our eggs, anybody can. Thanks. Bye.